Hi again and welcome back. In this video we're going to be looking at some more Greek vocabulary having to do with emotions. One of the words for the center of emotions is hekardia, the heart, but it's important to recognize that based on the sense of the Hebrew word lev, in Jewish use hekardia can also mean the mind. It really means the whole inner person. Nous, on the other hand, is the standard Greek term for the mind, and it can also be seen as the seat of emotion. The genitive of nous is naos, and the real stem is just na. Remember that there are other terms we've already learned for the parts of the person as well. Ta pneuma, which is the spirit, or wind, or breath, and he psyche, the soul or life, or in some cases the mind. How systematic are these words? Well, in some philosophers you might get the attempt to distinguish between different parts of the soul, but really, with the exception of the basic distinction between body and the inner self, these words are best thought of as different angles on a unified inner person, a unified inner life. So ta pneuma is not really a different part of the person than hekardia, or than he psyche, or even than ta nous. It's just that with each of these terms we're focusing on a different aspect of that inner life. Agapao means I love. And we have the normal lengthening of the connecting vowel for any alpha contract verb, as well as the lengthening of the initial vowel, the initial alpha, when there's an augment. So the first aorist form of agapao would be agapesa. The derivative noun is he agape, love. And although it's often suggested that this is a radically different word for love than words like phileo or storge, this is only a different conception of love as it's injected by early Christians. The word itself is not a particularly common word for love in Greek literature, but when it does appear, even in the Greek Old Testament, it can mean anything from erotic passion to family love. It really only takes on a distinctive sense because early Christians pick it up and use it for the distinctive Christian, and I would say also Jewish, model of love as self-giving for one's neighbor. The adjective agapetos, agapete, agapeton, means loved or beloved or dear. And on the other hand, miseo means I hate, I despise. Again, there will be the normal lengthening of the connecting vowel in this epsilon contract verb when we add on things like the sigma for the future and the aorist. Phobeomai means I am afraid or I fear. This is a deponent verb, really a truly middle idea, but in English we express it with the active voice. But it's interesting because outside the present tense it uses passive forms rather than middle forms, as deponent verbs usually do. That means in the aorist we'll have ephobethane instead of using the aorist middle. Hophobos is the related noun, fear. And another negative emotion is mourning or lament. And so kleio can mean the actual action, I cry or weep, but it can also mean more generally, I mourn, I lament something. Interestingly, outside the present tense, the stem of this verb changes from klai to klau. The iota changes to an upsilon. So the future is klausomai, and the first aorist is eklausa. Just notice that the future tense is also deponent, where the other tenses just use regular active forms. He orge is anger or wrath. Elpizo means I hope. And because the stem here ends with a zeta, remember that when we add the sigma for the future tense or the first aorist, that zeta will drop out. And so we'll have elpiso for the future and elpisa for the first aorist. He elpis is hope. And this is a third declension noun of the pais type. So the sigma drops off the real stem and is replaced by a hidden consonant. Here it's the typical delta. So the real stem is elpid, and the genitive form would be elpidos. He chara is joy or happiness. And if you remember chairo, I rejoice, this is the noun that's derivative from that verb. Makarios, makarie, makarion is an adjective meaning blessed or fortunate. Here are a few other emotions that come up in the New Testament. Thaumazo means I am amazed or I am shocked. And again, remember, since this has a final zeta on the stem, that the zeta disappears before the sigma for the future form thaumaso. On the other hand, he epithumia is desire or lust, while he paresia is boldness, confidence, or brashness.